Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Gospel of Comics. I'm your host, the Church of Failure, and with me, as always, is the co-host, Ayrton McCartney.
Good evening, everybody.
How's it going tonight, man?
Uh, Still feel like shit, but I'm ready to do this.
All right, all right. Well, today we have a very special episode. Actually, we are doing a little something new, which is the thing that I say every episode. Um, we're looking at a pre-release comic, Pink Lemonade, by Nick Cagnetti. His information is in the description down below. His Twitter, his website. You can learn about the creator of Pink Lemonade. Here we have the cover and the opening advertisement for OJ Bot and the OJ Bites. Um, what do these remind you of, Ayrton? These OJ Bites.
Like a mixture of like combos and like Jello or something.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say combos, but this absolutely reminds me of early '90s, late '80s, early '90s comics. Let's see here. Give me 1 second. There's a something going on in the background here. There we go.
Uh-oh.
Got that figured out. I was watching MasterChef. Apparently, what it was, and I forgot to turn it off. Anyway, don't sue me. I pay for my Hulu account. It's fine. I wasn't rebroadcasting. I was commentating. It's fair use. Anyway, back to
Allegedly.
yes. The show is starting off fantastically. We're such professionals. We're days away
That's
from
great.
a network deal. Days, I tell you.
That's right.
Anyway, this reminds me of like a combos advertisement from a comic book where I actually have the Combo Man trading card. Do you even know who or what Combo Man is?
No, but in my head it sounds hilarious.
It looks more hilarious. I will pull that up, but go ahead and give us your thoughts on Pink Lemonade. We'll jump right into that. Actually, you want? I'm gonna go ahead and shill for the book. This was
Yeah.
we were approached to cover this book, um, and it's very very special honor to be approached. I know the book was sent out to a lot of people to cover it, but I'm very happy to be doing so. It's produced by It's Alive, um, created by Nick Cagnetti, Pink Lemonade #1. You can actually pick up a limited edition con exclusive at Heroes Con from Nick Cagnetti himself. So the introduction is as followed: mysterious past, colorful costume, altruistic nomadic lifestyle. It's all pretty cool. Pink Lemonade dreams of doing big things. She just wants to be a good help where she can. But things don't always work out the way we planned, and soon Pink Lemonade finds herself in jail after a big misunderstanding with some cops, after trying to help a child. Just when she thinks she's sunk, I'm not going to read the rest because I don't want to give away the ending. Um, that's part of the agreement. You're going to have to check this book out for yourself if you really want to know where it goes. But go ahead and give us your thoughts on this.
Yeah, so initially the first few pages are just insane and crazy. She's in like a race to the death to free a bunch of robots trapped on a planet by some like racetrack monster.
Yeah, aliens or robots or something, right? We're not entirely sure. We're thrust into this. We don't really know what's going on or why it's happening. But we do get a pretty interesting 2-page spread in the in the opening here. Let's although the way this is formatted, I can't actually make it a two-page spread, so I'm gonna have to show you both pages.
And there's
Sure.
also a dude and a dog, both with a jetpack,
Yes, that's uh that's the shot we're talking about.
which and what?
Oh
So
wait,
while you pull that up, so the
I don't have the screen share live. I'm sorry, buddy.
oh, I have the stream up.
Oh, okay. Well, keep your screen share then. You're fine. No
Well,
screen.
you always give me shit if I don't have the stream up. So
Well, I mean, it's one less thing I'm gonna give you shit about, but that's not gonna save you. But no, we're introduced to these characters. Oh wow. Okay. Uh, a bunch of messages just popped into chat at one time. I think I was lagging a little bit. But we're introduced to this
ah,
situation, and you really don't know what's going on except you're in the middle of an action sequence. So again, this is what you and I were talking about before the show. This is all ages feel good comics, and it's something we don't really get enough of anymore. Um,
yeah,
I don't really feel an overarching agenda with this comic. I don't think that this comic is setting out to prove anything, but to just be fun. Um, Anybody can look at something and find something in it, and I did that myself at the same time, and we'll get to that when we finish the review. But it's colorful. My kids loved it. I looked over it with my oldest son and oldest daughter, 7 and 4 respectively, and they really enjoyed the artwork and the way I read it to them. So
now that should have been a video.
I don't think so. No. I
Did you do different voices?
did. I did. They were all terrible, but my children liked them.
But yeah, we're just thrust into this insanity, and you have no idea where this is going to go.
But
And
essentially,
then
there's
she
there's a race going on to free an audience, and nobody finishes the race. And the bad guy's name is Barzabelli Jr. So there's a Barzabelli Senior,
apparently,
right? And then we come to realize that this is all, unfortunately, been a dream. She finishes the race, and the villain explains to her that she's full of hot air, and she wakes up to a beautiful sunset or sunrise. I'm not entirely sure. It looks more like sunset based on the colors. And then we're
yeah,
introduced to this mysterious specter-like character, and this is probably the most intriguing character of the book for me. Like, I want to know Pink Lemonade's backstory, but I want to know about this guy. Like, what is this guy's deal? He just kind of keeps showing up, and is like, you
being all creepy and shit.
right, like specter-ish, living tribunal-ish. Uh, I mean, even the bike looks a little scared of him. So,
Which I did love that in the background, like you could always see like little emotions from the bike,
right,
which I thought was fun.
right. But then, we're hit with the Shyamalan twist. This was all a dream as well. So, we get past that, and
it it was all the trees.
it was it was definitely all the trees. Um, we're introduced to the main two characters of the story that Pink Lemonade's going to interact with, and that's a mother and daughter. Who the daughter was running a Pink Lemonade stand, and essentially that's where Pink Lemonade has taken her name from, because I assume she has amnesia. It's never outright stated, but the information that she doesn't have, she seems like amnesic, or Maybe she has a memory disorder, like in 50 First Dates, where you forget everything. It's never flatly explained. I think that's going to come with a little bit more of the backstory.
Yeah.
The mother and daughter take Pink Lemonade to their house. Well, invite her to their house for dinner. There's no kidnapping. It's probably a good thing. But they all invite her back to the house and then display their obsessive collection of OJ Bot memorabilia, including comic books and VHS episodes of this cartoon, and we're explained to the death of the franchise of OJ Bot, and this was probably my favorite part of the book.
The yeah, I loved it. Yeah, basically they decided to go edgy with OJ Bot, and he would vaporize people with his vitamin C powers
Right,
instead of just use them to defeat the enemies. He would he
right,
would just f them up and melt
yeah,
their faces like Raiders of the Lost Ark style.
right, and that's something that I've always appreciated. And we were talking about this again. It really kind of represents the transition from like the Silver Age to the Bronze Age, or even the Golden Age to the Silver Age. I think more so the Silver to Bronze, because you had Batman and Superman being extremely wholesome characters, and then around the late '80s, early '90s, you started to get more of the Rob Liefeld and the Frank Miller and the Alan Moore deconstructionist, which is some of my favorite comics. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, they brought in this edginess and this grit that really changed comics. Some would say for the worse, but to stay true to the times and the customer base, you really didn't have much of a choice. But I think it was a fun
Yeah.
commentary on that. And
Well, even the art style kind of harkens back to like those Silver Age
yeah, let's talk
comics.
let's talk about the art for a second. It reminded me more of like a true to life Archie comic as opposed to the cartoonish style. Like it was very bright, it was very colorful. It
Yeah,
it had a nice feel to it. It shows that a lot of care went into the details of this book, like the tattoos on the mother's arms. They aren't
right.
missing in any panels that I could tell. I mean, they may be, and I may have overlooked it, but they're they're consistent, and that small detail like that is stuff you lose in today's comics.
Oh yeah,
And you also
yeah.
don't get you also don't get the attention to detail and just the love and compassion in the artwork that you see here in a lot of modern day big two, big four comics.
Right.
And there's obviously
And it
exceptions,
was
but
definitely refreshing. Like the bright colors, the nice shading, the just the overall style of the art in this comic just kind of makes you feel good and makes it actually really easy to read almost. Like it
right,
just flows very nicely.
absolutely.
Like,
One thing I also wanted to comment on was the pink isn't like overpoweringly magenta pink. It's this nice soft color. It's really easy on the
yeah.
eyes. I was expecting this comic to be filled with this horrid magenta color all throughout, but that was a really good stylistic choice to make it the softer pink shade. Sorry, I just a random.
Yeah, and can we just
Go ahead.
can we just talk about how so in the bottom right panel where they're on the couch watching the OJ Bot cartoon. Like she still has her whole like
Biker suit
motorcycle
on,
suit
yeah,
on, except her shoes and
and
helmet.
gloves, yeah, her shoes, gloves, and helmet, yeah.
I yeah, I don't know why that just I just thought that was fun for some reason.
Also, is she not wearing socks, or did she take her socks off?
I mean, motorcycle shoes or boots would be awful to not wear socks in. So she must have taken them off.
I'll pull up that panel about the edginess of comics, and then we'll wrap up because, like I said, we're not gonna get into the ending. We'll cover these next two shots, and then we're gonna leave it up to you guys to check it out because this is definitely something you want to look into. It's fun. Uh, it gave me the same feeling that Alterna did when I started buying some Alterna comics at with the new characters and whatnot, and it's a good feeling because stuff like this is I think what's gonna move the industry forward, not to doubling down on the political stance, not you know pandering to one audience or the other. It's stuff that's fun and
Yeah.
anybody can read and anybody can look at and feel something. Like, is this the best comic I've ever read in my life? No, probably not. But is it a good comic? Absolutely. And I mean,
Oh yeah.
I think that
It's
that's all you can really ask. Occasionally, there will be a diamond in the rough, and this has all the potential in the world to be that for somebody. Maybe not me personally, but this has all the potential in the world to be that because the character is stylistic. It's intriguing. I want to know why she has that outfit. I want to know who the guy in the water was.
yeah.
I want to know more about.
I want to know what kind of bike that is.
Where'd you get that bike, girl? Um,
Yeah.
I want to know more about Barzabelli Jr. and Senior. I'm really interested in knowing about Barzabelli Senior for some reason. But I
And I
just
want to know who the jetpack dude and dog are.
right, absolutely. I want to know that they actually exist. Has she encountered them and gotten amnesia and doesn't remember it, or is that just a dream for real? Like so many questions, I just don't know.
Yeah.
Is she being moved around in space and time by this mysterious creator? Or this mysterious creature that keeps popping up out of the water like some Arthurian, you know, boogeyman.
Right. Yeah. There's an endless amount of possibilities with where the story could go, and
I,
it really makes me want to read more of it just to see.
and I think the fact that you can accomplish that before you even get to the ending of a book is really a testament to a comic. Because if you make somebody want to read what happens next to answer these questions, then you've already won half the battle. If you can make people want to
Right.
buy issue 2, you've already won half the battle. Again, we pulled up this shot for the little commentary on the state of comic book characters. Um, this was probably one of my favorite scenes because, like I said, it talks about how edginess ruined the wholesomeness of some characters, and it sets out the mission for this character to be wholesome. Um, Good or bad, however you feel about that, like I don't take it away from anybody. That's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. It's not necessarily mine all the time. I would be interested to read issue 2 of this. I would read this ongoing if it stays this fun. As long as it doesn't pick
Right.
up an agenda or expose some hidden agenda, then I'd love to keep reading it.
Yeah. My main takeaway from this was just hashtag make comics fun again.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be a
You
great
know, because that's
knockoff MAGA hat,
basically what
right?
this. Yeah, because I mean that's basically what this comic was. It was just wholesome fun, just weird.
MICFA, make comics fun
Most of
again.
the stuff, yeah. So I mean, and this represents kind of that idea very well.
Um, anyway, where we finish off in this review, we're gonna go into the fact that we have a movie being filmed, and Pink Lemonade hears that some kid has his balloon missing. So she rushes in to save the balloon, and it all gets caught on footage. And she returns the balloon while I guess the portrait of toxic masculinity in the background. he uh, he gives her the stink eye, and it's fantastic with his mullet and his gigantic torso.
Which I mean, I think that's one thing where the left and the right come together. Anybody who still has a mullet is kind of a goon.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah,
100%.
can maybe we should ask Remphamis. Maybe she'll agree with us.
Oh God, no, I don't want to talk to that person. I don't want to speak to them. They, they there. Let's just take a moment before we close up to just appreciate the big guy's name, shall we? Ron
Oh
Radical.
yeah.
Excuse me. No, Ron
No,
Radical
for some
is
reason in my head,
yes,
I'm
yes.
picturing he's going to become like a daredevil supervillain.
Oh man, I hope so. With the
You,
pointy
you
shoes.
know, he's going to be like riding a flaming skateboard, like riding a flaming board
You are
with like
roboting, sir.
rockets on the back. To
Your microphone hates me in my show.
wow, how's that?
Yeah, you're better for right now.
Apparently,
I don't see
how's
why you
how's
wouldn't. I
that?
give you. Yeah, you're good. I give you shit like every week,
Okay.
so I don't see why you wouldn't hate me in my show by now. But your microphone really should be unbiased. I haven't talked shit about it in a while. If he does become the skateboarding radical like extreme side bad guy, you got to have him with a square helmet to fit the mullet without screwing it up and giving him helmet head.
And he's got to wear like the typical biker jacket with like metal studs on the shoulders or something like that.
Yeah, with the that's right, with flames and shit on it.
Yeah.
Maybe a rocket skateboard. I don't know. We should stop giving Nick Cagnetti ideas. We should get paid for. No,
Do you
I'm just
use
kidding.
any of these ideas, Nick? Yeah, you better pay us.
I didn't say nothing. Anyway, I enjoyed it. I didn't I didn't think it was I didn't think there was anything wrong with it inherently. Like I said, it for a second it felt like it was kind of a jab at toxic masculinity and that whole concept, but I think more or less it's a commentary on basically the state of the industry right now is everything just not looking into it, not necessarily it being into this book, but I think that says a lot more about the state of the industry that I was worried about that being an undertone of something. I can't just read a comic book anymore because of all this controversy and all these people in the bigger industry. But as an indie creator, I can't imagine this guy would want to tell people they were bad and make them
Yeah.
not want to read
How?
his book. So I had to take a step back and take my tinfoil hat off for a second to fully appreciate what we had, what I was looking at, and from then on,
Yeah.
it
See,
was just go ahead.
I was gonna say I pictured like Ron Radical, kind of like the '80s and '90s like teenage little bully characters in the movies,
Yeah,
like just over the
Biff
top
Biff Tannen,
dickheads. That's how it came across to me.
right. Well, there is one thing, and the reason that concerned me was that the majority of the male characters that you interact with in this book are all seen as misunderstanding or bad guys, not necessarily not necessarily the best of people. And there's an overtone of the empowerment of female characters, which again is fine. as long as it's not shoved in your face, and this wasn't. I'm interested to see where the story goes. I don't want it to be another Mockingbird where it's a bumper sticker on the back of the bike that says "Ask me about my feminist pink lemonade agenda." And I think the fact that I worry about that kind of commentary in a comic book when I've only been able to read one issue of it says a lot more about the state of the industry than it does this comic. You know
Oh,
what I'm saying?
definitely.
I think that's not anything to take away from Nick Cagnetti or his work. I don't think that's anything to take away from It's Alive Comics. I think more or less it's something to look at and say maybe people need to stop taking comics so seriously in the larger industries and trying to use them as a platform for political commentary and virtue signaling. Maybe people need to just write good comics again. And I think
Which
that
is a great segue into our next segment.
what the news?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, it is. First off, you want to talk about the Twitter post that I put out before we came on air, and we can bring up a couple of replies to it if anybody's gotten there.
Which one?
I'll put it in the side chat. We've only gotten
Okay.
two responses on it so far. I'll retweet it out real quick just to see if anybody else wants to jump in while we're talking about it. But I just posted out that I wanted to posit a question: does character's sexual preference actually matter in most comics? Now, I understand that there's a need for a story device, and sexuality can definitely lend itself to that. However, in normal superhero fair comics, does it or should it matter? And first, I'll get your thoughts on that.
I mean, I don't really care. Like, what, excuse me, what type of sexual friction a particular character gets pleasure from.
Right.
I mean, as long as it's done well, you that as a story device, I don't really care. Now, if you're
Man,
going
your
to
microphone
retcon a
is
character,
killing me,
like
dog.
having Iceman get,
Hey, hey. Yeah, shut it down, man. Your microphone is
how's
killing
how's
me.
how's that?
All right. Now start saying that stuff again, and we'll see where it goes.
If not, I have another pair I can plug in.
All right, that'll work.
Yeah. So yeah, what I was saying is, I don't really care as long as it's done well and you're not retconning characters to have a different sexuality, like Jean Grey implanting the idea in Iceman's head that he's gay and then like turning him gay. Like that's just stupid. But if you make a new original character and you want to make that character gay, all right, just do it well.
Well, and that's the thing. Like that's where the question comes from for me because who's to say that any of it done well or poorly in that regard, except someone of that background. However, when you're when you're writing a character, can you imagine in any situation whatsoever that someone in a comic book that would potentially be read by the younger demographic from like 8 to 12 would ever need to express their sexuality? Like when we had Scott Summers and Jean Grey and they would kiss, okay, they never followed that kiss up by expressing that they were heterosexual and going to perform heterosexual sex acts on one another in the off-panel segment of this comic.
That's a good point. That's
And
true.
you didn't really have that with some homosexual characters either. However, even in the 52 saga that I was talking about and dawning over, or fawning over, excuse me, dawning. Dish soap, bubbles. Um, you had.
Ducks with oil on them.
That's right. What the fuck? You had
Well,
Renee Montoya
wasn't that the?
and Batwoman talking about a previous relationship they had, and very openly and obviously stating that they're a previous homosexual pair. Now, it doesn't matter if they had made some passing comments and there was like two panels and somebody said, "Oh, you two used to date." But I'm thinking like that entire exchange was almost 2 or 3 pages.
Yeah, see, that's going a little far with it.
Right. And
But like, if you had that same scene with like Scott Summers and Jean Grey kissing, but with those two, just like a single panel shot, okay, fine.
yeah, nobody bats an eye.
Yeah,
But the whole world is going to go crazy when you spend a lot of time expressing a character's sexuality when it's unnecessary. And I think we need to end this trend of trying to give everyone, even the younger teenage characters, a sexuality. Like that's
right.
weird. Stop it. They're kids. It's embarrassing enough for
Yeah,
teenagers to talk about that crap amongst themselves. It's not something that comes up in natural conversation. If you're trying to give us an intimate moment, there are better ways to do it. Stop it. This all set me off when I was looking for some topics for the show tonight, and I came across the Daughter of Lobo, which I did not pull to talk about because it was on CBR, and I didn't want to deal with 2 or 3 of their articles. I think I have one that was more important. I may not even, but I don't do the whole CBR thing. But it just they were talking about Crush, the
yeah, not a
daughter
fan.
of Lobo, and even though Lobo's backstory literally says he's the last Zarnian, he's had a handful of kids, but one of them happens to be a homosexual, and they're really pushing that agenda. I'm like, why does it matter? First off, I don't even
Yeah,
know that she's of legal age. Secondly, why does it matter? Are we turning this book into a skin flick? Like, is that what's happening?
yeah. I've never gotten the making the big deal out of a character's sexuality or anything like that. And
And
now people are going to say, oh, it's because you're a straight white male and you've always had characters you could identify with. No, that's not the reason.
probably, but anyway, you know,
I
I,
mean,
I do have a couple of responses. Um, uh, at S Pliskin with a 3 instead of an E says it shouldn't matter, but people want to be represented, and that's understandable. The trouble with comics is, rather than invent new characters or pushing already established gay characters, etc., they take characters with a long history and retrofit them into a new narrative, often alienating longtime fans, which I think you briefly touched on.
yeah,
Crash Jester, at Crash Jester, again with a 3 instead of an E in the first E in Jester, is as long as it doesn't fuck with the main plot, I don't give two shits, which I think is most people's understanding of it.
here, here.
Let's see if anybody else has replied since I tweeted it out. Let's
Where's
see.
Denny? He needs. I want to hear his take on this.
I told him to message me.
Uh,
um, Someone did pipe in and say billionaire playboy Bruce Wayne. Tony Stark was a known womanizer. Yeah, but at the same time, their sexuality wasn't shoved in anyone's face. That would be my response to that. Good, obvious point. I don't disagree. I'm actually going to like this entire thread. Randbot said something that I'm not going to read on YouTube. Um, That was a nice little conversation. By the way, guys, follow me on Twitter if you really want to feel like what it's like to be demonetized in life. Mrs. Church in the chat says that every time I make eye contact with strangers, they yell their sexual preferences at me and their pronouns. Have a
It's really getting out of hand.
yeah, have a good one, Becky. Thank you for popping in. But anyway, now that I've gone on that tangent, I do apologize. Let's look at the how do I bite off Keemstar's bit? You want to give it a shot?
The what?
Keemstar's bit. Let's get right into the news.
Oh.
um, actually, I have to pull up an article from Sports Pro to start us off with. So I know this is a comics channel. Don't
Yeah,
leave just
what?
yet, guys. But Marvel joins forces with
Sir,
USG. Go ahead.
I, I was just gonna say, what the hell?
Yeah, USGA for golf comic books. The governing body turned to superheroes to encourage youngsters to engage with golf. Now, my wife made a prescient point on this. She did state that if you were a golfer who had small children who weren't necessarily interested in golfing, but maybe liked the Marvel movies, this would be a good way to get them interested in the sport. So, to that, I do. Okay, I'll give you that one. But for the most part, my main argument is there
Yeah,
are.
but
Go ahead.
golf is silly.
Well, not only that,
That my main argument is,
I
yes,
don't know.
golf is silly.
I don't know. Tell Tiger Woods' bank account that golf is silly. He's had time to go through like what 2 divorces and like 8 cases of being a womanizer, and he still got money.
Well, I didn't say you couldn't make money. I just said it's a ridiculous sport.
We read comic
It was
books on
developed by
the
drunk Scotsmen. Have you never?
yes, golf, gentlemen only, ladies forbidden. I know exactly the origins of golf, sir.
Have you ever seen Robin Williams' bit on how the Scots invented golf?
Yeah, they were just out drunk and wanted to hit something with a shillelagh.
Hey, shillelagh is Irish, my friend.
Well, you know, when you're drunk, who cares? Anyway, let me get back to this fucking article. Why are you?
Yeah.
But I do agree with Mrs. Church. You know, this is a good way to get
Well,
a
you
kid
have
who.
to agree.
Shut up. Um, this is a good way to get a kid who might not be interested in golf to be interested in golf if they're already interested in superheroes. But I think that Marvel and DC have bigger problems than this. However, it probably was a decent enough paycheck, and they're probably not making a lot of money. So the guaranteed sale of that many comic books to the USGA so that they can distribute them is probably really looking good on their margins right now.
True. Now, next question is, who do you think would win in a match between like Spider-Man, Iron Man, and the Hulk?
The golfing,
Yeah.
Iron Man, 100%. That suit's
I know.
gonna
I
give
bet
him
the
that suit's gonna give him the advantage to like twerk his strength and his shot at just the right angle. It's gonna be able to calculate the trajectory and program in the movements. He doesn't even have to do anything, and he can pee while he's on the court, which means he can drink the most beer.
yeah, but I bet the Hulk's got a pretty mean drive.
Oh, absolutely, to the next state. I mean, he'll be off for the entire match looking for his ball. Anyway, uh, the United States Golf Association, the USGA, is teaming up with Marvel Entertainment to create a range of exclusive golf products to encourage younger fans to engage with the sport. Right there, I think, first mistake. How many young people do you know that buy comic books? So if you're selling these and the USGA isn't buying them to distribute them, which I assume their goal is,
Yeah.
The collaboration will also lead to the distribution of Marvel themed golf posters with lessons for the youngsters learning about the game. Yeah, that's what I want on my wall as an 8 or 9 year old, is a poster of Spider Man golfing and not punching out my favorite supervillain. What? What is wrong with you people? Anyway, continuing on. We're excited for this opportunity to introduce and teach the game of golf to junior audience in a way that's completely unique, said the USGA's chief executive Mike Davis. So what I'm getting from this, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, I'm thinking some comic book fan who also plays golf on the board of directors for the USGA had this brilliant idea to finally get to help make his own comic book about superheroes golfing like he's wanted to, because he's one person in a billion fucking people that would dream this up, right? Am I off base with this?
No, I say that's a pretty good theory.
I'm I'm imagining, because you know what? I've had the same thought. Let's create a comic book about what I do for real life living, and hey, let's even have me as the stand-in character for it. That'd be genius. No, it wouldn't. It'd be stupid. Nobody wants to read about what you do for a living. I would rather read superheroes like playing basketball, or didn't we already have that Space Jam?
Yeah,
The Looney
technically.
the Looney Tunes did it, but still.
I mean, would anybody want to read a comic book about Thor working in a tobacco shop?
Depends. Is he fat? Because apparently some people really liked Fat Thor.
I mean, it was kind of amusing.
um, anyway, just this press release, like it's either somebody grinding their teeth while they chirp this out for the article, or it's somebody who really thinks that this is a great genius idea, and I'm just not sure I believe that. Utilizing the power of the Marvel Universe will help us introduce the game to new potential golfers while also giving our existing players a fun new way to learn. You know what a fun new way to learn is? Have a coach that'll just make you fucking do drills for hours on end until you get the shit right. Why nobody wants to play golf? You have to practice your ass off, and they don't. There are some schools that do it, but they're really pretentious.
Well, then you have to wear the funny pants, and
Yeah, you have to stand outside for like 6 hours at a time and be really quiet.
yeah.
Other sports, you get to fucking raise a ruckus and grunt and call war cries. Like in football, you just yell at somebody, "I'm gonna rip your face off," and you tackle them. That's a sport. That's something I can see the Hulk and Wolverine doing. The Hulk and Wolverine on shirts and skins football teams. That's
See, now that I would read.
There you go. We actually, you're gonna make me say it, aren't you? There
I mean,
are actually football superhero comics. Not like Marvel superheroes playing football, but they're a group of football players that have superpowers. That's the thing. Sports Pro or something like that. I've got some of them in a long box somewhere because they're just morbidly fascinating. Uh, Michael Pascaluro. I don't know. You want to take a stab at that name?
um, uh,
Pasilulo. I don't fucking know. Michael
it,
P.
Pas Pasquiulo. I don't
Michael
know.
Michael P. Senior Vice President of Marketing and Communications at Marvel Entertainment, added, "For 80 years, comic books have been the core of the Marvel Universe, introducing fans of all ages to new adventures, ideas, and experience through visual storytelling. We're thrilled to be teaming up with the USGA to use our iconic heroes that storytelling to inspire the next generation of athletes and golfers." He's right here blatantly saying that golfers aren't real athletes.
That's true.
We want athletes and
I
golfers
mean,
to be inspired.
any sport where you sit in a cart and can eat and drink beer at the same time. It's kind of like bowling isn't really a sport if you can eat pizza and nachos while you're doing it.
Hey, shut your fucking mouth. That's now you're getting personal, buddy.
Hey, I like
Miss,
pizza and nachos.
all right. Using
And beer.
cartoons to get kids into things is not a new concept. Danielle Griffith also says not at all. Cartoons have been using subliminal messaging since they began to get kids interested in things, and neither one of those people are wrong. I'm not saying that it's not something. I'm saying that you never see kids reading comic books. That's the whole point that I'm making. Like, it's not a dumb idea if it was a cartoon. That'd be genius. I'd watch that crap all weekend. Me and Spike would probably watch. But we'll we have comic books, and comic books don't get into kids' heads anymore. You just don't see kids reading comic books anymore.
Yeah, it's because they don't have stories like Pink Lemonade that are just fun and can draw them in. They're getting
No,
beat over the head with.
They do. I mean, like I said, you've got stuff like Pink Lemonade. You've got the story that we're gonna. Oh, Mrs. Church also says that I think Marvel is milking the Avengers cash cow dry. I don't disagree with that one a little bit. I have seen Dallas Cowboys Marvel merch. I have not seen that, but that would be funny. What in the world? Why is it a white
like
screen? Oh, okay.
like She-Hulk, in the Dallas
Sorry,
Cowboys uniform.
sorry for blinding you guys. I don't know why that happened. Just a white screen in the background. I'm thinking one of my browsers didn't load. Come on, catch up. There we go. Anyway, no, I don't think that comic books are the way to go to reach the youth anymore. That's what I was kind of getting at to begin with. Marvel has so many more things they need to be worried about right now, like replenishing their readership. If you want golf comics to get in the hands of kids, get a comic in the hand of a kids first. Like free comic book day is the only time children pick up comics anymore, unless their parents make a special trip to buy them for them. Working in a comic store, I see kids walking in and out all day, and what do they buy? Pokemon cards, baseball cards, magic cards. They gamble with their money. They don't buy comic books because comic books isn't a gamble. It's a money pit. You're literally buying something that you can almost guarantee is not going to appreciate in value.
Right.
Whereas
Unless you're lucky.
you can spend $5 on a pack of cards. All right, there is a small chapel running around in the background. Gonna, you stop that. Anyway, I'm gonna let you pilot for a second while I go handle this.
Oh, all right then.
I'll bring up the article that you were talking about earlier. Give you something to work with.
Ah, all right. Let me know when it's all up and ready, even though I can't scroll.
It's okay. There you go.
I'm gonna get it up in my browser. All right. So.
All right, there we go.
All right, we good?
Yeah.
All right. So, Marvel Comics mogul Stan Lee's former manager Kia?
Kia Morgan.
I don't know. Morgan. Kia Morgan was arrested on elder abuse charges.
Right. And
Now,
we've been hearing about this off and on for weeks, right?
yeah,
Like
it's been,
even
well, it was speculation ever since, like, right after he died. People were speculating on
oh,
this,
even
weren't they?
before so. The Kevin Smith came out on social media and offered to let Stan Lee come and live with him.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, because people were so worried that he was being taken advantage of.
I must have missed the Kevin Smith thing.
Yeah. I've been kind of plugged into this for a little while, but people have been circulating video of how atrocious the treatment of Stan Lee has been ever since years before, like 2 years before he died. So, uh, but he's actually been arrested and charges are being brought up now. So I think that's the main takeaway. And this segment, by the way, guys, it's just something a little different that we're trying to do to kind of keep up and involved with current events and comics that are outside of the Twitterverse or the YouTube world. I'm sure other people have talked about this, and by all means, if you check out, we are going to cover another comic by the end of the story. And if you don't like this, where the comments are always open, please by all means let us know what you want to see more of, what you want to see less of, what you like, don't like, all that good stuff.
You know, if you don't like me being fired every episode.
Yeah, definitely speak up for that so I can ignore you. But yeah, the former manager who managed Marvel mogul Stan Lee was arrested on speculation of just elder abuse, false imprisonment, and grand theft. And like I said, there were videos circulating of Stan Lee where he just looked miserable, and he was sitting there signing autographs, and people were having to like guide his hand because he couldn't see. I mean, it was heartbreaking. It was the reason that I never sought out to get Stan Lee's autograph in his later years on anything, and that's
No,
because
can we just point out that this Morgan guy looks kind of like a sleazeball?
oh yeah, let's look at him again. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's the eyes, man.
Yeah, and the like not really smile.
Oof. People should stop showing their front teeth in that manner. Like Boogie recently showing his front teeth to everybody, even though they're fake. They just look like shit. Um, it
Yeah.
You could tell they're fake, and the fact that he's displaying them that way is really creepy. I know you're proud of them. I'm glad for you. Not to take anything away from you, buddy, but people don't care. We don't give a
Yeah,
shit
you know,
about your teeth. We don't
except
want to look at them.
he looks way too much like Monday and Matt now, which is a problem.
Let's just not go there. I don't want to get struck by the. He has Google Alert set up on his name. He'll throw a boulder at the channel.
You're assuming he can lift the boulder to throw it.
That's what he's doing right now. Is picking up boulders. Do you not know that lore?
Oh, I do.
Okay. But yeah, Kia Morgan arrested under investigation for elder abuse. That's pretty much the takeaway from here.
Yeah.
What did you wanna say anything about it in particular while I have it up, or do you want to go ahead and move on?
No, I saw it when I was googling up some news from the week and thought it was we might as well at least touch on it.
Yeah. I've known about this for a little while, but yeah, it's good that it's finally happening.
Yeah.
He was released on bail, but I'd be interested to kind of to see those documents as they come out. I'm gonna put out a look for him to see if I can figure out what all's going on with that case, what all kind of charges he's looking at.
Yeah.
I found this and thought it was pretty funny. DC Comics not happy with AOC special cover.
I
Now,
love that.
let me just let me just say this for the record. Um, I know it's funny to trash on this woman, but that's how you make people powerful. Um, to continue, like it's funny that DC doing it, considering the comic industry as a whole are pretty much at fault for being very liberal people, if you say this. But
Yeah,
this is how Trump maintained power in 2016 was the memeing and the constant bombardment of harassment. I mean, he definitely had supporters, but he didn't have as many supporters as he does now before on the internet.
true.
And the memes and the fact that he just triggered people so hard is what led him to prominence. I'm really scared that AOC is going down that same path because you can't get away from this woman in the media. I'm talking about a fucking comic book right now, and there wasn't this big of a deal put out about the Obama comic. Anyway, they did a variant cover for the.
That's a good point.
They did a variant
But
cover. Go ahead.
we do just need to point out real quick though, she is kind of ridiculous.
So's Trump.
True.
Don't underestimate this woman. She is the biggest threat that the Republicans have right now.
Yeah, except she didn't know what a garbage disposal was.
And she also wanted to replace all cars and planes with trains. It's scary to think that she's the biggest threat that the Republicans have right now, but that's the brutal truth. Because she resonates with people that don't know what garbage disposals are and actually think the Earth is going to come to an end in 12 years. But this isn't a political stream, so let's just keep on moving.
Sure.
The new comic book is the Freedom Force colon new party who dis. I'm gonna say right now that I will.
That makes me cringe hearing that title.
I'll just wait till you have to read it because we're gonna.
Oh, can I quit instead of you firing me for that one?
Yeah, but if you quit, you actually have to quit.
Damn it.
If I fire you, I can immediately rehire you. I have that power. If you quit, I might not let you come back.
Uh,
Start your own show with blackjack and hookers, and then
that's right.
YouTube will kick you off because gambling and prostitution are illegal and they're against toss. Sorry, that was a terrible joke, everybody. I apologize.
I'll go to D Live.
Just take that guy to a comic convention and hand him over. The fans will get justice. And no, you're not the only one that thinks she looks like Michael Jackson, but we're talking Michael Jackson near the end, where he's like all pale and ghost looking. The new comic, new party who dis. Grab a hamburger and grab a cup of confetti and prepare to enjoy this read. A promotional webpage reads, giving a cheeky hat tip to Donald Trump's mispronounced words. Anyway, the long story short is that they did a variant cover where AOC was basically Wonder Woman, and DC Comics sent him a cease and desist letter, which is fantastic. It didn't.
It is.
It didn't shut down the whole comic, which a lot of people said might have happened. It just essentially made them not produce that. They're not being able to distribute that cover. Now, the ones that already made it out into circulation, they're skyrocketing in value because of this, which is understandable. But we all know liberals don't have money, so who's going to buy them? Did you ever read Spawn, Ayrton?
I actually haven't. I know like of the character and stuff, but I haven't actually read any of it. But after reading this article, I'm a little bit more curious.
Well, there's a brief synopsis for you. You didn't see the movie either, or the cartoon show on HBO in the '90s and early 2000s?
No, my family was too poor to afford HBO back then.
Fair enough. Um, I mean, cable was a bitch, but Todd McFarlane reflects on 27 years of Spawn, discusses issue 300 and his work on Venom. Um, McFarlane did a pretty healthy run on Spider-Man. I don't know if you knew that either.
Yeah, I remember we've talked about it.
Well, he did a pretty healthy run on Spider-Man. I have every cover that he did for Spider-Man Volume 2, I think. It's 1 through 13, and then a couple of later ones. But I have two copies of one. One's a gray cover, and one's a red and blue cover. But anyway, he he's been involved with the Spawn comic since the beginning, and you can really only say that about Spawn and Savage Dragon. And between the two, Spawn is obviously the superior comic. Now, I stopped reading around issue 125, 130 of Spawn. Um, it just it just kind of fell off my radar. I was reading a bunch of books at the time, and it was something I read with my dad, and we both stopped reading it at the same time. I've always kind of
Mm.
respected Todd McFarlane as an artist. His writing sometimes could use a little work, but you know, whatever. There were some really good issues. There were some kind of and there were some terrible ones. But reaching issue 300 of a book with even one member of the original creative team is a feat. It's astonishing. It doesn't really happen
Yeah,
anymore. And like I said, between McFarlane, Spawn, and Eric Larson and Savage Dragon, those are the only two that I can think of off the top of my head recently that have accomplished that. I don't even know if Savage Dragon is on issue 300. Let me check that real quick. I could just be full of shit.
yeah, and well, this kind of goes back to the discussion show we did last week about passing off these legacy characters to other writers and other creators and stuff, and how that just really mess up the character. But when you have
Right.
something like this, the same guy doing it for nearly 30 years,
Savage Dragon
it's like,
is at 248. So Spawn is the first book to reach issue 300 in the Image catalog that I'm aware
but yeah, I think that really just kind of harkens back to that discussion very well. If you can have a solid creative team like that can do a long run on a character, by all means do it.
of. Right.
It's definitely commendable.
Right. For nearly 30 years, Al Simmons has been doling out justice and revenge for guilty parties in the pages of Image's Spawn comics. It marks a solid run for a comic book character, but becomes nearly unparalleled when you consider the anti-hero's creator, Todd McFarlane, has been writing Al's story every step of the way. All his hard work will pay off this summer with the release of Spawn 300, a momentous milestone issue that will tie the record for the longest running creator-owned comic on the planet with Dave Sims' Cerberus. The record will be broken by the debut of Spawn 301 soon afterwards. So, and there's been a lot of controversy with Dave Sim, but you can't take away the fact that he's an amazing creator. I don't know for sure what he did or didn't do. I never looked that far into it. If he is guilty of any of the crimes he's been accused of, then fuck him. But I don't know, therefore cannot pass judgment, but I can tell you that Cerberus is a phenomenal book. Kind of, kind of like everybody says, you have to separate the art from the artist, and some people can't do that. Some people can. I can't do that with some people, and some people I can. I think ignorance is bliss in this particular sense because I rather would not know and have a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach when I looked at Cerberus as a comic. But Dave Sim Cerberus, to be even compared to that level of just success with a comic book, much less to be able to break a record set by Cerberus in the longest run of a creator-owned comic and still have people interested in the title, which they are. There are people that have read every issue of Spawn, and I, hats off to the guy. McFarlane has truly accomplished something that is something that people should really strive for.
Oh yeah.
If you care about a character, if you care about a story, and if you're talented enough to continue a story that long, then do it. But like you were talking about, passing off legacy characters, regardless of how well it's done, there's only a couple of instances of legacy characters even that I get behind. DC is best with his legacy characters, I think, in certain instances at least. Blue Beetle, Jaime Reyes, is a
Yeah.
fantastic example of a good legacy character. It's not like some kid was just picked up the Blue Beetle armor left behind by Ted Cord. They gave him an entirely new power set with an entirely new costume and just the same name. But they happened to introduce him to Booster Gold, which is what gave him the tie-in to being the Blue Beetle.
Hmm.
Uh, Green Lanterns are another example, and I may seem biased, but because I've admitted before that Green Lanterns are my favorite DC characters, but it makes sense that you're going to have legacy Green Lanterns because they're an organization almost like the police. When the guy that patrols your neighborhood at night dies or retires or graduates to being a detective or whatever, there's not just not going to be a cop there, right? They're going to put
Right.
somebody new there. They're going to wear the same uniform. They're going to have the same gun, but it's not going to be the same person. And with the Green Lanterns being an intergalactic police force, it makes sense for them to have legacy characters. So Kyle Rayner picking up a ring and joining the Green Lantern Corps made sense. Guy Gardner, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But again, I digress. If Todd McFarlane wasn't doing Spawn, I would hope that there just wouldn't be a Spawn. Excuse me. But no, I would just hope there wouldn't be a Spawn if McFarlane wasn't doing it. So anyway, again, congratulations, Todd McFarlane. 27 years of Spawn. The cover is fantastic, by the way. It mimics Spider-Man 300. Let's put that up on screen for a second.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool cover.
So, little Spawn head in the corner. It's going to be an $8 book. Um, definitely check it out. Like I said, I've watched the animated show. I read a lot about it. It's decent. I don't know where the story is right now. I heard even Al Simmons wasn't Spawn for a little while, so I'd be interested in seeing how that goes. This is a little bit of a recap from last week. Remember we were talking about Tom King having
Yeah.
Batman punch Robin. Well, we got a little bit of a
Yeah.
rumor. This has not been substantiated by anyone that I know of. I'll probably look as soon as we get off the show and find a confirmation or a denial of it. But Tom King had originally planned out a 100-run issue to end at issue 105. Well, in the 69 issues we've seen, there's been a lot of negative feedback, and they're pulling him off at issue 85, according to this rumor. Now, like I said, it hasn't been confirmed, but he's made grandiose statements about writing 100 issues of Batman and that wanting to be his run, but instead, him being kicked off at issue 85, I feel like it's some kind of comedic justice in the universe. Nothing. You got nothing.
Which is, you know, sorry, my throat's starting to get sore.
Ah,
Hold on, I'm gonna take a sip of water.
okay. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd
So,
like to be the
yeah,
co-host,
yeah.
just DM me on Twitter. Apparently, going to be looking pretty soon. You know, I'm doing the show
'Cause I
by
have like
myself.
freaking, I have like the freaking plague or something over here, getting like leprosy or whatever.
Man,
But no, I think
I didn't schedule you being sick this week, Eric. Knock it off.
no, I think the guy who decided to make Batman punch Robin in the face, you know, it's justice, which is a nice little parallel to the story, you know.
Well, I mean, we got the Dark Knight. The Dark Knight Returns, where Batman was an old crotchety anti-hero type Batman. We got Batman and Robin by Frank Miller, where we got the "I'm the goddamn Batman." Um, and now this. I mean, this isn't Batman, you guys, and it's never gonna fly with Batman fans. Um, Batman is not always a cooler heads prevail type of guy, but he he deserves better than this. And I
Yeah,
don't care what your message is. I don't care what your story is. You have a duty to the fans who buy this book religiously because it says Batman on it to not be a total ass face and have Batman punch one of his own legal children in the face for trying to help him. That's the story you see in the Batman Who Laughs in Dark Knight's Metal. The Batman Who Laughs went crazy because of the Joker toxin and invited the entire Bat family to help him. And when they got there, he gunned them all down. I mean, that's some shit you would see in an alternate universe with an evil Batman. And there's a
yeah,
reason that that was an alternate universe and an evil Batman because that's the exact opposite of what our Batman would do. And I know it's gatekeeping and whatever you want to call it, however you want to sleep at night with it. But that's as a comic fan, as somebody who's read this character since the day he could read, Batman doesn't punch Tim Drake in the face for trying to help him without some kind of criminal interference. He's being mind controlled, he's poisoned, he's under fear toxin, some shit like that.
yeah,
Batman on pure air doesn't punch Tim Drake in the face. End of story.
yeah.
You
You
know?
can't go. You can't make a character unless you're doing an alternate universe thing. Do something out of character because then that character becomes meaningless.
Well, I mean, you think about the Red Hood. While was it Tim Drake that he punched in the face? I think it was, wasn't it? Wasn't that the Robin? I'll have to
I'm
look
not
it up.
sure.
I can't remember. It's probably in this article. What am I doing? Being a bad host. Questioning whether it blah, blah, blah. All together. Huh. Interesting. Uh, it doesn't say, but I believe it was, and you know, you. you have the whole situation with the Red Hood, which was a Robin that was revived from the Lazarus pit and went crazy. And Damien was an evil little shit, and they would spar all the time. And occasionally, Damien would try to kill Batman, but they worked together for a little while without Batman punching him in the face every time he tried to help him. And it pisses me off. I'm tired of people just trying to shit on our properties to be edgy boys. Um,
Yeah,
you
like,
know,
ooh, you're so edgy.
right. Uh, Jonathan Hickman literally wrote out of existence an entire first family at Marvel and did it with style and grace. And that kind of leads us into what I'm talking about here. If you can't do it with the kind of finesse and the kind of style that it takes to be respectful to this thing that has given you the opportunity to tell a story. I mean, these characters are bigger than any of these writers will ever pretend to be.
Right.
And I know this is the ramblings of a fanboy, but this is something that I actually care about. I mean, these characters they're timeless. They're something that people are trying to enjoy. And if you argue that legacy characters have a place, if you argue that after the creators of Batman and Superman and Spider-Man and all of these other characters, the X-Men all die. If you argue that they still deserve a place because you love those characters so much and you want to keep reading them, then you have to argue that they be respected.
Right.
And whoever decided that Batman punching Robin was acceptable, I think you should fire the editor too. Fuck that. I think
Oh
you
yeah,
should fire the artist that drew it.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Fire everybody that was involved in making that decision.
Right. Um, but I mean that's just my 2 cents. And the final topic I'm gonna touch on tonight, unless you have something else to bring up, then we're gonna look back in on that tweet about the sexuality of characters, and then we're gonna look at radioactive ragdolls or ratty rearranged Ronin ragdolls. Excuse me. Um,
It's a mouthful.
yeah, this is just kind of touching back on what we were talking about last week with Hickman taking over the X-Men, but this gives you kind of an idea of what to look for with Marvel coming out with House of X and Powers of X. What I have a
Yeah.
problem with is they're already falling back into the variant cover trap. So you've got 2, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 16 different covers for this book already announced. Uh, and it looks like a fucking Star Wars book. Now, again, Jonathan Hickman have all have all the faith in the world in, but this ain't selling me. Whatever this is, it ain't selling me. I mean, I
Sure
got
thing.
I got Nimrod in the background there. Animated series fans will remember that guy. But Hickman's writing is going to have to do a lot to repair the X Men brand in comics. I hate to say it, but
So now is this cover? Is this one of the variants?
um, I don't even think this is a cover. I think this is just a
Oh.
promotional shot. I
Oh.
mean, it
Okay.
probably is the regular cover. That's probably the regular cover, honestly, for Powers of X, but not House of X. See, there's 2 series if you don't remember: Powers of X and House of X. There's 16 variants
Yes.
of House of X. We don't know how many variants of
Oh.
Powers of X
Okay.
there's going to be.
I missed the powers
So,
down at the bottom.
yeah. Uh, Anyway, let's take a look back at that tweet. Like I said, I hope Jonathan Hickman does amazing things with this book. I hope he does great
Yeah,
things for the
I'm still
franchise.
probably gonna at least buy the first few issues.
I'll probably read the trades when they come out, like I normally do. So we'll see.
Yeah.
You know, if you want
Well,
to, we'll read the first 6 issues of the ongoing series and see what we think about it.
yeah. Well, now that I've found a comic book store that's not an hour away.
Yeah, no joke. It's getting rough out here to get comics, people. We gotta figure out what's going on. Um,
Yeah, this one's 14 miles, I think my GPS said. And in Michigan, everybody, our roads don't go straight because of all the damn lakes.
right,
So,
right.
14 miles might not sound long for somebody who has straight roads, but we don't.
um, definitely not Ragnall Ebert. I don't know. Um, it's definite and then some numbers seems good. In the grander scheme of things, who a person sleeps with is irrelevant. I'm a huge fan of the old storytelling meme of show don't tell. If a superhero is gay, don't fucking tell us every 5 seconds. Have him or her come home to his or her partner. It doesn't have to be political, and I 100% abide that. I
I,
100%
I
avow
can
that.
get behind that.
Yeah, I 100% avow that take. You know, don't don't shove it down our throats. Like, if you're gonna use it as a story device, use it as a story device, but it better
Pun, inten-
matter.
pun intended.
That's right. But it better matter because if it's just a pander, then I hope everybody you're pandering to realizes that they're being pandered to and disavows your work. I'm sorry. It's gotten
I
too
mean,
bad.
I totally agree. I
Uh,
totally agree.
did you see that idiot Eric Stallwell put a brand new gay pride flag on his door and took a social media image, then probably
Oh,
immediately ripped
jeez.
the flag down before anybody saw it? But the flag still had the folds in it from the packaging. If I was a homosexual and I'd seen that, I would be so fucking pissed off at that asshole for thinking that I was that stupid.
Right?
You know, I mean, how
But I
dumb
mean,
do you think
people
people
fall for it.
every day? And it breaks my heart.
Well,
It,
that's,
it breaks my heart, dude.
yeah.
You know, I've maintained for the longest time. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you look like. If you're an asshole, you're an asshole. If you're a decent person, you're a decent person. It doesn't matter
Right.
what color you are. It doesn't matter what creed you are. But if you want to kill me, I'm gonna have a problem with that. That seems
Right.
fair, in my
Or
opinion.
hit you with a bike lock, or I
Right?
would say
Yeah.
so. And I mean,
But
that's one of the things about this country that people don't understand is that's what's part of our culture is we nobody cares about you.
right, right. We
Just
care.
just
We
don't
care
be
about our
just don't,
money.
yeah, we care about ourselves and our immediate family. That's it.
Right.
Or other people we're close to. Some random gay dude in Los Angeles, I don't care about him. Be
Um,
gay. Just leave me alone.
well, before we get into to quadruple R's, let me show for Nick Cagnetti one more time. At
Yeah, definitely.
that's at NCAGS on Twitter. Nick Cagnetti. His website is down below. That is radicalrealmcomics.com. Um, you can get a limited edition pink lemonade variant cover in in June at Heroes Con, and it will be published and in stores in October. So definitely go check that out. Like I said, if you can get your hands on it and give it a look, definitely do so. We need to push these indie creators. We need to give them our support. if you like what you've seen, look it up and definitely give the man some money. It's worth it.
Oh
It's
yeah.
a fun little book. I think it'll be interesting to kind of follow along with.
Uh,
I think I don't know, but it very well has the
right.
potential to be a very interesting story and go to some places you'd never expect.
Right.
So
And that's what I'm hoping for is a wild ride with this story.
right. Um, there's no links that I have to support it at the moment. Check out his website and his Twitter. He may have a Patreon or a PayPal or something you can send him some money to if you want to support him or try and pre-order a copy. Um, you maybe just shout out, give him a little encouragement, tell him you like what you saw, drop a critique on there if you didn't. Let us know. Let us know down in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to go over those in a future episode if we get any decent ones. Um, not gonna just not just gonna read something to get us kicked off, but if somebody needs an actual message out there, I'll look into it. Um, the last thing I want to cover tonight. Are you ready for this, Ayrton?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. This was not a comic I was able to get my hands on digitally, so I just have some cover images that I wanted to show off. But we will be
Okay.
looking at.
And the picture I sent you of the one panel.
I'll not be giving that any credence whatsoever. Thank you. If you want to reach out and let my co-host know that no one says cool beans, um, I'd be more than happy to send some money to your PayPal.
You know
Um,
what? I'm gonna do a poll.
I bet you are, Panama Red. um, so for this, I'm gonna have to break out the physical issue that I got here because, like I said, this wasn't available digitally. We're working in prehistoric floppies here. I got a crazed 2-year-old running around in the background. Okay,
See,
bye.
now we gotta do the Rush Limbaugh, like, you know,
Shuffle some
flap the
papers.
pages up. Yeah, up at the microphone.
Right. No, I like keeping my comics in decent condition, so I'll not be doing that. Thank you.
It's
Um,
fine.
I'm sure it is. Wait till I get mine graded, and. But
All right, it's a bet.
this is a very, I don't know, I wouldn't say run of the mill, but it's very reminiscent of issue number one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I would say inspired by heavily, obviously. Um, but we have the radically rearranged Ronin Ragdolls, 3 cats who have been genetically altered and raised to be
Radically
grown.
rearranged, you might say.
I might. Um, cool little cover here where you have Usagi Yojimbo, even though he doesn't appear in the story. So I thought that was pretty nice. I believe that's by the Usagi Yojimbo artist Saki. So a couple more. You had 2 Kevin Eastman covers, one of the original creators of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Um, 3 very distinct looking cat characters, even though they're all supposedly the same breed. So that was interesting. But one, this is probably the closest you get to what they actually look like in the comics on a cover here. Um,
Yeah, which this is the one I got, and actually, if you open it all the way, you have a full spread artwork going on the back cover as well. That looks really really nice. I don't
right.
know if you can find an image of that.
No, actually, I could not. Again, these were not available digitally for me to buy, so I had to make Ayrton go over Hell and Half Creation to find a copy so that we could look over it.
Last one, baby.
Yeah, we do this for you people. I picked up both the Eastman covers. This is one of them, and the other was the black and white cover. Let's see if I can find that bad boy. Not that one. That one, yeah. So these are the two Eastman covers, and I picked both of them up. Um, just because if I'm gonna pick up any cover, it's gonna be his. I thought I was gonna have to send you one, is why I bought two, but then you told me
Yeah.
after I had bought one. So we open up with, again, you're in the middle of an action scene. So it's kind of standard fare these days where you open up in the middle of the action. The cats are fighting a group of scientists, I guess, and thugs, in a lab.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like AIM
Yeah.
from
Um,
Marvel.
right. Right. It it made me think something similar, but again, we'll just kind of keep going. We had apparently there's this drug in this universe called Rambo because that's how it makes you feel. Um, not gonna lie, kind of want to try the Rambo.
I mean, isn't that what like bath salts does to you?
I don't know. I don't do bath salts, Ayrton.
Well, well, the wasn't that a Florida man story where the guy on bath salts like fights off 7 cops while jerking off?
Well, look, that's just PCP too. I mean, it's the same thing.
Okay, yeah.
But anyway, so on the way home, well, one of them breaks off to follow one of the goons to figure out where some character named the Overdog is.
Which I love the name of that.
Yeah, yeah. Not subtle at all. Just the big bad guy's name is the Overdog.
Yeah,
And we're cats. Get it? Dogs and cats. Haha. um, one of the characters has a penchant for speaking in haiku, so I thought that was pretty nice. And but one of the more feistier of the sisters, they're all three sisters from what I understand. Um, the one with long hair in the green top here on the left hand page, she runs off to track these guys down, and the other two go back towards their home. They encounter a small child, not a small child, but a young kid, and he's being harassed by some goons. So they, you know, make short work of the goons and take the kid back to the hideout, even though he hasn't said a word since they helped him out. And you get a very Master Splinter moment with the old Asian lady that raised them.
which was fun. I enjoyed her.
Right. Um, they eventually agree to tell their origin story to this kid to help put him to sleep. The origin story, you realize about halfway through, is being told entirely in haiku, which again is a nice little touch.
Yeah, I thought that was fantastic.
And
Confused
then,
the hell out of me for a couple pages, but once I got it.
well, then there's the showdown at Shea Stadium, where in true Ninja Turtles #1 fashion, the main bad guy that you've been introduced is unceremoniously killed. In this instance, by being pushed in front of a moving train or bus or whatever it was. It was a bus, wasn't it?
No, it was a train.
It was a train. Okay, yeah, it was pushed in front of a train. Flat out killed in the first episode or the first issue. Sorry, I didn't take my nap today. I'm
And
yawning. But you end on a very interesting, to be continued type moment, even though this was marketed as a one shot. So I don't know that there's going to be more of this. I enjoyed it.
which
Go ahead.
I did too.
It reminded me a lot of the adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters put out by Dynamite, not the original, but the ones put
Yes,
out by Dynamite.
just with
Uh,
a coherent story.
yes, but if I would have been disappointed if you know ARB ARBBH had a coherent story, even in the modern one.
True,
I would have been
true.
disappointed. So all said and well, this was a pretty good book. It came out this week. Good luck getting your hands on one. I've heard that they were limited release to certain stores if you find one. It's a very high quality book. It's probably the first physical comic that I've read in a long time that wasn't in a trade form or something of that nature.
Yeah,
I buy a lot of physical comics, but I will also just read them digitally.
yeah.
I don't like taking my comics out of the plastic because that's the kind of person I am. Most of the
For
time
me,
because
there's
I'm
something about flipping the pages.
well, most of the time I'm so far behind in the story. By the time I pick up the stack, it's just going at the bottom. It's just going to the bottom of the pile of things that I need to read anyway.
Right.
So it's easier for me to just put everything on Comixology or upload it to a PDF reader or something like that. If I have like trades that I got off Humble Bundle or something.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah. No, this was a fun story. I enjoyed it.
it
Um,
was. The printing
the
quality was
character.
very good.
Oh yeah. The art was definitely very distinct, which I enjoyed. Um,
Right.
the one thing, and I'm gonna blame, spending too much time on the internet, is
Oh
the
yeah, we talked about
the
this.
characters. Yeah, the characters are a little furry-ish in some of their designs, which makes me uncomfortable. But especially the one with the long hair.
Right.
But it.
What are you gonna
I,
do?
I, yeah, I could get past it because it was a fun story.
It was. This came from Kevin Eastman's new studio. Apparently, he is putting out independent comics again for the first time in like 25, 35 years. And this on top of the announcement from Todd McFarlane on 300 issues, it does give me hope for big comics. Maybe not Marvel and DC particularly, but it gives me hope for big comics to actually have a future.
Yeah,
Um, I think the biggest problem, like we talked about with the USGA thing, is that places like Marvel and DC don't need to be worried about bringing in kids that play golf. They need to be worried about bringing in kids, period. Because it's all
right.
well and
And
good that you do a comic book to bring in kids to golf and comics. That's fine. Keep doing it. But show me a kid that reads comic books right now because they're very
right.
few
And
and far between. People that read comic books are people like me and Eric, and you have to replace. Like I'll show my kids comic books. My son likes comic books. My daughter will probably like comic books, but that'll be because I buy them for them. If left to their own devices, they would probably never once read a comic book.
see, and this, along with Pink Lemonade, if less kind of like wholesome story wise, but this would be great for 10, 11, 12-year old to kind of get them into sort of that idea of comic books about how they're weird and random and ridiculous things can happen in them,
Right.
but have fun reading it. So
Well,
I would definitely, if you can find a copy of this, like I said, this was the last one in the comic book store closest to me. So, but
right.
if you can find one, definitely pick it up.
Well, and the show does have a slight bias towards Ninja Turtle clones. Let's just be real with it.
True. No, we do.
Uh,
I,
I don't think it's anything secret at this point. But speaking of which,
no,
we do have
well,
another hamster episode to do eventually, so we'll have to get there.
we do.
Um,
I mean, I just have a bias for like just weird and off the wall stuff.
right, and I have a bias towards good comics. And this, like I said, it's not the most action packed. If I had to rate it, I'd give it, you know, both of the books we read today were solid seven, maybe even 7.5 out of tens.
Yeah,
With a little bit of work and just a little bit of consistency, they could easily be up to eights, nines, even tens. Um, it just really depends on where the story goes. If Quad R is a one shot, then it'll always be a really decent homage to the Ninja Turtles. It'll always
yeah,
be a very interesting origin story that takes tropes that you're already familiar with and twist them on their head without damaging the ideas of what is being done.
right.
They even kind of make a reference about great power and great responsibility in the book, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Um, I mean, all in all, they get a sidekick at the end. He finally speaks. His name is Kirby, and he says he wants to be a radically rearranged Ronin Ragdoll. That's him in the right hand panel, by the way. The kid in the background. That's Kirby. Um, I don't know. There's not a whole lot left to say about it. Like I said,
No, just
both
the
books of
fact
the
that,
evening were a lot of fun.
yeah,
If you're in it for the superhero stuff, uh, Pink Lemonade would probably be more your style, uh, especially if you want something that is going to be a little more ongoing. But I really would hope that this would be ongoing as well because it was an interesting story. I'd be interested in seeing how they're going to bring back the Overdog. Um,
I think I think this would work better as like a mini series than a ongoing series.
well, yeah, because eventually you'd just be telling the Ninja Turtles with female cats, but
Yeah,
just like the radioactive black belt hamsters, a four-issue miniseries wouldn't bother anybody. I don't think.
no, not at all.
Um, I don't know. As a one shot, and again, pushing it further could devalue it, even because everything can subvert someone's expectations.
True.
So I don't know. I liked it. I was happy with it. If it stays a one shot, I'll remain happy with it. If it doesn't, that could change. So who knows?
Hey, and one of the characters said "cool beans," which, as Church will tell you, I immediately took a picture of that panel and
He
DM'd
did.
it to him.
He did. He woke me up to show me cool beans. I was asleep. My phone went off because I have alerts set up for my co-host because I'm trying to be a decent human being. And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I looked at my phone, and there in my Twitter DMs is a screenshot of a cat saying "cool beans," and I fired Ayrton and I blocked him on Twitter.
Actually, actually, didn't you say I hate you so much? I'm
I
pretty sure
did.
that's what you said.
I did. I told him I hated him with everything that made me a church. So we got that going for you. But that's pretty much it. Like I said, definitely check out Nick Cagnetti. His links for
Yes.
his website, his Twitter, and everything are in the description down below. Check out RadicalRealmComics.com. Check out It's Alive Comics. Let me put a link for that in the description as well. My bad. But all in all, I'm super interested. I will be picking up an issue of Pink Lemonade #1 when it comes out in October. I will not be at Heroes Con, I believe it was, in June, or HeroCon or whatever. I will not be there. However, in October, when it comes out as a full issue, I will be picking one up and waiting anxiously for issue number two.
Yeah,
So,
same here.
yeah, yeah, it's Heroes Con in June. Um, check it out. Pick up a pre-order. You won't regret it. It's Alive Comics. I will throw that link down below. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on before we wrap up? We got about 15 minutes left.
Um,
Any
I think that's about.
any other comics you picked up this weekend? Any other comics you
I
looked at maybe picking up, maybe starting a pull list?
I did grab just because I was there, and well, Wolverine's definitely my favorite superhero. I picked up Wolverine Infinity Watch #4 because that came out this week, and I've heard that it's actually pretty good. I haven't read it yet because I've been busy and sick, but I'm probably going to read it this week, and I'll let you know.
Okay, I'm not seeing a link to It's Alive as a website, so they may just be an off the grid publisher. Comicsgrinder.com has a category for It's Alive, so I will put that. It has a little article about Pink Lemonade there that also doesn't spoil the ending. So we'll put that in the description so you can at least kind of get a little bit of an idea from who It's Alive is. Like
Yeah,
as a
but
publisher.
de- yeah, but yeah, definitely check out both of these books.
Yeah.
I would say.
Um, when we read the AOC book, I will not be suggesting that you should check it out. That'll be one of the books that we earn our title of "We read it so you don't have to." So
I will, though, however, have a gallon of bleach to bleach my eyes and brain after reading it.
and drink.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh no, no, I'll definitely be doing the mixing the bleach with gelatin and eating bleach jello the entire stream.
You're not gonna try and kill yourself by spraying Febreze in your mouth?
No, 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 no. I'm definitely more hardcore than that. I will,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
I'll eat the bleach jello and roofie myself. But anyway, this week I picked this up. I picked up a True Believer Power Man that came in. Um, really, nothing else struck my interest. I did pick up a new trade of Wolverine, the Death of Wolverine, because tomorrow night on Storyline Showdown we're going to be covering what was your pick, Serenity?
Serenity leaves on the wind.
Yep, 4 issue series, and we're also going to be doing 4 or 6. I'm not sure. And then we're
I think
also
it's
going to,
6.
of course, you're going to make me read 2 more books than I made you read. We're also going to be reading The Death of Wolverine in honor of the colorist for that book who passed away this week. We'll talk some more about that tomorrow. Um, but RIP that guy. I can't remember his name. I feel really bad saying that now. Actually, let me just look it up so that I can actually RIP.
Yeah, I'm terrible at names of people,
I
so there's
am.
no
I
way I'm gonna
am.
remember it.
Names are fucking awful. Like you should just be that guy that
I,
did the color for you know Justin Ponser. Justin
I
Ponser.
mean, my favorite Pink Floyd song is "Hey You," so
Well, Justin Ponser, colorist for Death of Wolverine. Rest in peace, sir. Amazing work, and we'll be going over that and Serenity tomorrow. So we got that to look forward to, or maybe dread and hate watch. But either way, we appreciate everybody that showed up in the chat and you know gave us a couple of comments there. We appreciate everybody on Twitter for answering the question I put out. I'm going to start doing that a little more often, putting some questions out that we can kind of look over on the
I,
show.
I like it.
So,
Yeah.
if I
And look out for my poll on whether cool beans is still a phrase that can be used.
I'm always on the lookout for you flinging a pole around. After a couple of Guinnesses, you just take your pants off, you go wild. I don't even know what's going on.
That's Irish in me.
Yeah, well, we get like 6 or 7 female viewers because you have a guitar, but what are you gonna do? But anyway, I think that about wraps it up for this evening. Gonna put the outro up and mute the old mic here, and I think that'll be it, unless we have some breaking news here. You're not gonna give us. Oh, he's just dead, folks.
Breaking news.
Yeah, breaking news.
Huh?
We don't have any breaking news right now. I'm saying unless we see some, like while the outro is playing. I think that's about it. So
I mean, it is windy. It is windy here, and some branches have broken off the trees.
Yeah, we should definitely cover that. Anyway, I appreciate everybody. I've been your host, The Church of Failure. Have a good evening.
Good night, everybody.
How much responsibility do you feel that you have, particularly guys, the alt-right, who, as you say, some of them have enjoyed your work, and say,
No,
I'm not one of you guys. I'm not with you.
They haven't enjoyed my work.
I've definitely read bits on the internet.
Read more. Read more. Read more.
You've sold 2 million copies of 12 Rules for Life. You have 800,000 followers on Twitter, 1.4 million followers on YouTube. What is it that you're selling that so many people want to buy?
I don't think I'm selling anything. Selling anything. I don't think I'm selling anything. Selling anything. Selling anything. I don't think I'm selling anything. Selling anything.
So people are willing to pay a lot of money to see you speak. What is it that you think that people are hungry for? They want to hear from you.
They're hungry for a discussion of the relationship between responsibility and meaning. Responsibility and meaning. Responsibility and meaning. The relationship between responsibility and meaning. We haven't had that discussion in our culture for 50 years. 50 years. We've concentrated on rights and privileges and freedom and impulsive pleasure. Those are all useful in their place, but they're shallow, and that's not good, because they're shallow. If people are moored shallowly, then storms wreck them, and storms come along. So I'm talking to people about how they can build a foundation underneath them that works. Storms come along, so read more. Read more. They haven't enjoyed my work. Read more. Read more. Read more. I don't think I'm selling anything.